Hello, my dear students. Welcome to my channel Study of Philosophy. In this video, I am going to explain about the first part of the Unit 1, that is Nature of Inductive Enquiry of H.S.2nd year Logic and Philosophy. In this part, you will get the answers to three important questions. Number 1. What is inference or reasoning? Number 2, relation between deduction and induction. Number 3, induction and its characteristics. So let's get started. So students, you have learned in your H.S. first year course about inference or reasoning. The main subject matter of logic is reasoning. So what is inference or reasoning? Inference or reasoning, it is a process by which we pass from something known to something unknown. So in Western logics, that means Western logicians classify inference broadly into two kinds. They are deductive inference or deduction and inductive inference or induction. So in your H.S. first year classes, you have learned about deductive logic. So now I am going to explain about the relation between the induction and deduction. First, we shall discuss about what is deduction, what is induction. Then I will discuss about the relation between induction and deduction. So what is deduction or deductive inference? Deduction or deductive inference is that in which the conclusion cannot be more general than the premises. The premises are assumed to be true and the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. Deductive inference, it is an inference from general to particular. If we take this example, that is, all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. In this example, the first two propositions, that is all men are mortal and Socrates is a man, are known as the premises. And the last proposition, that is therefore Socrates is mortal, is a conclusion. So in deductive inference, what happens? We pass from general to particular proposition. In this example, all men are mortal, it is a general proposition. And on the other hand, that is the conclusion part, Socrates is mortal, it is a particular proposition. So here we have passed from what? General to particular proposition. So what is induction or inductive inference? Induction or inductive inference is that in which the conclusion is more general than the premises. The premise are particular facts of experience and the conclusion must be formally as well as materially true. It is an inference from particular to general proposition. If we take the example, Socrates is mortal, Plato is mortal, Aristotle is mortal, therefore all men are mortal. In this example, Socrates is mortal, Plato is mortal, Aristotle is mortal. These are the premises and these propositions are particular propositions. On the other hand, the proposition that is all men are mortal, it is a general proposition. So in case of induction, we pass from particular to general proposition. So now I shall discuss about the difference between induction and deduction. So in deduction, the conclusion cannot be more general than the premises. But in induction, the conclusion must be more general than the premises. Secondly, in deduction, the premises are assumed to be true. We never question the truth of the premises. But in induction, the premises are collected by observation. That is, the premises are derived from experience. In deduction, we proceed from general to particular, but in induction, we proceed from particular to general proposition. Next, deductive inference or deduction aims at formal truth only, but inductive inference or induction aims at both formal and material truth. In deduction, the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises, but in induction, the conclusion does not follow necessarily from the premises. In a valid deductive inference, if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. Moreover, in a deductive inference, the premises provide conclusive evidence for the conclusion. So the conclusion of a valid deductive inference is certain. On the other hand, the premises of an inductive inference may be true, but the conclusion may be false. Moreover, in an inductive inference, the premises do not offer conclusive evidence for the truth of the conclusion. So, the conclusion of an induction is probable. So, from these differences between induction and deduction, we come to know certain points that in deduction, the conclusion cannot be more general than the premises. That means the conclusion cannot go beyond the premises. For example, in case that I had taken the example of all men are mortal to Socrates is a man. In this example, that is a deductive inference. So in that inference, we have seen that the conclusion, it is not more general than the premise. That is, all men are mortal. All men are mortal is a general proposition. On the other hand, Socrates is a man is a particular proposition. So in that case, here also in deduction also what? The conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. That is, we have established the truth earlier. That is, all men are mortal earlier. Then we have established a conclusion. Socrates is a man. That means the conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. Again, in case of the valid deductive inference, what happens? If the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. If the premises are true and the conclusion is false, in case of a deductive inference, then we cannot say that it is a deductive inference. It is a valid deductive inference. It is an invalid deductive inference if the premises are true and the conclusion is false. So in case of a valid deductive inference, the premises are true. When the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. So in case of a valid deductive inference, what happens? The inference is always certain. So when we see in case of the inductive inference, in inductive inference what happens? The conclusion must be more general than the premises. The example that I have given, so what is that? Socrates is mortal, Plato is mortal, Aristotle is mortal, therefore all men are mortal. In that example, the conclusion is more general. That means all men are mortal. It is a general proposition. On the other hand, the other propositions, that the premises are the particular propositions. So, in case of inductive inference, the conclusion must be more general than the premises. Again, in case of inductive inference, the premises are collected from our facts of experience. We have to collect, we have to observe fact. Then we can come to the conclusion in case of inductive inference. So Socrates is mortal, Plato is mortal, Aristotle is mortal. These are the particular facts of experience. And after that, we have established a conclusion, that is all men are mortal. And in case of inductive inference, the premises of an inductive inference, it may be true, but the conclusion may be false. So inductive, that means that in case of inductive inference, the premises do not offer conclusive evidence for the truth of the conclusion. So the conclusion of an inductive inference or induction is always probable. That is one of the difference. That is, the deductive inference, the conclusion of a deductive inference is certain. On the other hand, the conclusion of an inductive inference is probable. So, from these differences between deduction and induction, we have seen that the difference between deduction and induction is not fundamental. That means they differ only in their starting point, not in principle. Here I have highlighted this sentence because it always comes in your question, final question paper. They differ only, deduction and induction, they differ only in their starting point, not in principle. Explain. Therefore, I have highlighted this point. So, induction and deduction, they are really two aspects of the same inference. Both are based on the same principle of the unification of particular and the general into a common system. That means in both induction and deduction, we pass from particular to general propositions or general to particular propositions. So the general proposition, which is assumed to be true in deduction, is established by induction. Again, the general proposition which is established in induction is verified by applying to particular facts with the help of deduction. Hence, deduction and induction are interdependent. Now, I will explain about what is induction and its general characteristics. So, what is induction? Induction is the process of inferring a general or universal proposition on the basis of particular facts of experience. For example, Ram is mortal, Hari is mortal, Sita is mortal, therefore all men are mortal. In this example, Ram is mortal, Hari is mortal, Sita is mortal. These are the premises and these are the particular facts of observation, that is the facts of our experience. On the other hand, the conclusion, that is therefore all men are mortal, it is a universal proposition. Students, you have learned about particular and universal proposition in your ACES first year logic course. So what is particular proposition? Particular proposition is that in which the predicate is affirmed or denied about a part of the subject. On the other hand, what is a universal or general proposition? Universal or general proposition is that in which the predicate is affirmed or denied about the whole subject. So that is the difference between particular and universal proposition. And in case of induction, what happens? It is a process of inferring a general or universal proposition on the basis of particular facts of experience. So if we analyze the definition of induction, then we find certain characteristics of it. What are they? Number one, the aim of induction is to establish a universal proposition. Secondly, in induction, the premises are collected by observation, that is, by our own experiences. And thirdly, the conclusion of induction must be formally as well as materially true. So that's all for today. Students, if you have any queries about the topic discussed, please leave a comment in the comment section. I will be uploading videos every week. So don't forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so that you get notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you.